Good evening, everyone, and welcome into Beyond the Boxscore, our weekly program where we break down all the latest football action from the high school, college, and professional ranks here on Pulaski Citizen Live. I'm your host, Mark Mize, joined once again by my co-host, Chandler Harmon. And Chandler, we were at the Hardin Mayfield Gymnasium last night for the season opening basketball game for the Giles County Bobcats. So 2 football teams still alive in the county as Richland and Giles County both in the quarterfinals. But we're already starting some basketball at the high school ranks too.
And it's always exciting to have that little bit of overlap, Mark, because both those sports are probably my 2 favorite sports overall to watch. And so having that overlap of seeing some great football from Giles County and seeing a very good Bobcats basketball team go against a very good Page team last night, it was exciting to see both those sports all happening this week.
And what's funny is whenever you have this time of the season, you see a different basketball team because, of course, Giles County, I think, has about 6 football players, including at least 2 starters who will be on course on the basketball team there. And so, we saw a different Bobcat team. It's going to be interesting in hopefully 4 weeks from now after Giles County wins the state championship when those guys get to be part of it too, and they'll be there in time for Christmas and then district play starting in January. But this is a great time for Giles County and Richland sports. I think they're going to have a great basketball season. But we're still talking a little football here on Beyond the Box Score. This week, we have 2 outstanding matchups for you as the Richland Raiders will host the McKenzie Rebels at Wayne Hobbs Stadium Friday night. And then Chandler will be traveling to Chattanooga as the Giles County Bobcats travel over there to play Tyner Academy in that quarterfinal matchup as well. And so probably your maybe second longest road trip of the season?
Yeah, it'll be right behind that. The longest is still when I went to Wayne County to cover the Richland Raiders early on in the season. But this is an exciting drive. I love Chattanooga. It's a very pretty area. And so this is going to be a very exciting atmosphere. I've heard good things about Tyner. And so seeing them and the Bobcats playing probably their toughest matchup as far as in this region play that they, in this streak that they've had. This is their 9th game since they've gone on that huge streak. And so it's going to be exciting. I think the Bobcats are going to give them a run for their money. And I'm hoping, I don't want to jinx anything, but hoping for a big Bobcats win.
Yeah, and you actually made a great point there. Giles County and Richland are both on 8-game winning streaks since week 4 of the season where they both fell in that one. And so, at that point, I don't know if we would have anticipated we would be here, but I'll tell you who did know. The coaches and the players in those locker rooms, as they knew what they had, and they've really proved it out there on the field. So hats off to both programs, and hopefully we're going to be back next week talking about semifinal matchups if the Raiders and the Bobcats can both win once again this week. And so Giles County will be at Tyner Academy. You can hear that game on WKSR as well, and Chandler will have the story. We'll have some photography in the Pulaski Citizen print edition as well as our website as well. And then Richland, of course, will be hosting McKenzie on Friday as well in that matchup where Jennifer Hawkins and I will have the broadcast on WKSR, and we'll have our story and some photography from Landon Hawkins that night as well. So should be a great one as always, but we're going to take a quick timeout, and then Chandler and Chris Bledsoe will be back to talk a little Giles County Bobcat football. So back in just a moment here on Beyond the Box Score.
When it comes to real estate, Haney Realty and Property Management is the team you can trust. Our extensive knowledge of the market and industry allows us to help our clients with any real estate need. We know how to get results. So whether you're looking to buy, sell, or rent, let us put our expertise to work for you. Call us today at 931-347-9150 or visit HaneyRealtyPM.com to learn more. Haney Realty and Property Management, your best friend in real estate.
And we're back here for the Giles County segment here of our show. And joining me here tonight is Chris Bledsoe. Chris, how are you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing really good. Just excited to be here. I feel like I hadn't seen you guys in a while, at least not in this setting. I saw you throughout the season, obviously at the ball games, but missed being here. So I'm super excited to be back here. Got a lot to kind of cover over what happened last week, and then even going into next week. Just a lot of it's still just exciting to be playing football, this late in the season.
Absolutely. And the Bobcats in the playoffs gotten a key win last week, and we'll start with that. Bobcats dominate on the field, 41 points scored by them. Collier continues doing what Collier does. What did you see from the Bobcats and how they played that game?
I think that is arguably the most complete ball game we've seen, from special teams to defense to offense. Just was super impressed, start to finish, with what they were able to do. Getting stops, obviously Collier, as you mentioned, he is who he is, and he shows up and he plays, and he's done that consistently since he's been back from injury. So we're super pleased with what he's able to do. Our guys up front, offensive line, did a marvelous job again last week. I've harped on them all year. I'm not going to stop now. They do a really, really good job. They make it easy. And like I said, them being able to effectively do that in the run game also creates opportunities in the pass game. Opening play from scrimmage, you hit a 50-plus yard bomb to from franchise to Bones Allen, who's just naked out there. He does a good job bringing it in. I think that set the tone for the ball game, and the catch is pretty much dominated from that point.
I mean, obviously Randolph with 200 plus yards passing, a very great performance passing. The Bobcats have really become a double-headed hydra. If you stop in one place, they're just going to hit you in the other, yeah. and vice versa. It's been great to watch.
It really has been, and franchise does a good job of what he does. The backfield does a really good job of what they do. Not only Pearson, but even Dallas Buckner, over 50 yards rushing last week. And I think we've got David Opie Bridges back in uniform, so I think his role will continue to develop even more and more as the season continues the next couple of weeks here. But all of that again goes back to the Hog Mollies up front. What we're able to do, what we can do offensively, because they do such a good job creating clean pockets and then run blocking. And when you can do those things, when it comes to run blocking up front, it's not a lot of scheme stuff when you have offensive line like we do, because David O'Connor will run the same play 12 times. If you can't stop it, you can't stop it. You can't fit the run, you just can't fit it. And so if we find some success in that right there, you'll see that play over and over and over again. And so they do a really good job of that. And because they're so talented up front, Coach Legg does such a great job with those guys. What happens consequently is we can adjust on the fly. If you show two high safeties against Giles County, you can just about guarantee you're going to get a guard and a fullback pull in one direction or the other. And by the time you get enough guys in the box to help, it's 5 yards or 6 yards, so on and so forth. And so if you don't go too high and you just show one high safety, well, then that means there's man-to-man coverage somewhere more than likely. And guys like Bones Allen and Jazz Bentley, who had a big play, T-Ray Cheatham, who also has been playing really well. And then Drew McLemore, who we got back last week, who was out injured against Sequatchie. Again, those guys will hurt you downfield. So it's a pick your poison type thing. OC sets up high in the box. He's able to see that. So being able to see what the defense shows you, make quick adjustments, and then being able to know you can find success in anything, it makes it dangerous for a lot of defensive coordinators out there.
Right. And people might, from looking at the 400 total yards and 41 points to 6 points, think that this is a lesser opponent, but this is the second round of the playoffs. Despite it being the Bobcats' first game, this is a very tough opponent in the regular season for all their matchups they had. And the Bobcats made it look easy.
Yeah, they did. Again, I think just playing really focused, control, raged type football. I think that was probably one of the most aggressive ball games, especially early on, that I saw David O'Connor and then some of the play calling choices to come out, go, fake double reverse, post route to Bones. I think it set the tone. It got the crowd involved. The kids were excited because you always wonder, and it doesn't happen very often for us here at Giles County, but how do guys play after those byes? And like I said, we had a first round game that was a forfeit, didn't get a chance to play. So would there be some jitters? Would there be some nervousness? Would there be some rust to be found? And I think the play calling that he allowed himself to do, and what he allowed the kids to go out there and do, knocked off some of that rust, created an opportunity for them to find some excitement early, punch it into the end zone, and then just from that point play complimentary football.
Absolutely. The Bobcats, as you talked about, had that bye week, and when talking to some of the players and the coaches, there was a little bit of concern that that would hurt their momentum as they went into that huge win streak to end the season. But this, O'Connor noted, just made a little bit of rust there, but overall they came out and they struck first and they won well.
Yeah, I look at it from this standpoint. If there's anybody across the state that needed a bye going into the playoffs, it's Giles County. Every week, just about every week this season, you've left a ball game, whether it was a game or a practice leading up to a game, where you lost a Bobcat due to injury. Some of those were longer than others, some of those short term. And so being able to have a week where you get a big win against Sequatchie and then you're off that following week, which essentially gave you 2 weeks to prepare for McMinn. And so who the Bobcats thought would win their first round. There's no secret that they thought they would be successful. They were. And so it gives you multiple weeks to kind of prepare for them. It also gave you a week there to kind of work on some individual things, some things that maybe you thought you can hit on later down the road against other teams you think you might cross paths with. So some stuff that we haven't seen. We're at week, was this 14 of the high school football season, and I guarantee you we've yet to see all of the Bobcats offense. David O'Connor, I nicknamed him the Mad Hatter a long time ago. He kind of gives you that Les Miles vibe. He's always got something up his sleeve, something you didn't see coming, you didn't expect, and I think we'll see some of that Friday night.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick timeout, and you're actually going to hear, before we give our preview, you're going to hear a quick preview from Coach David O'Connor about their matchup Friday night at Tyner here on Beyond the Box Score.
For over 50 years, PES Energize has been proudly powering our community in Pulaski and Giles County, Tennessee. We're more than just an electric utility. We also offer internet and phone services. Our commitment to our customers and our community is what sets us apart. We're dedicated to providing safe, reliable, and innovative services. At PES Energize, we believe that serving you is a privilege. We're here for all your energy needs. Visit PESEnergize.com or call us today.
So, Coach, big game for the Bobcats this Friday against Tyner. Talk to me a little bit about, this is the first road game for the Bobcats in the postseason. What are some things that y'all are going to do as you're getting ready to go on the road for this matchup?
Well, hopefully a few of those early games we had and late games, and with even the Jackson North side a couple weeks ago, having to travel, do some things on that travel, get walkthroughs and things on the road. Hopefully all that will help us for this week. And so even though it may be our first one in the official playoff time, we worked our kids and explained to them as we played Jackson Northside that this is going to be in prep for that game.
And we talked about last week, obviously, that first game, not having that in the playoffs, and a little bit about worried about momentum maybe. Swapping from that, obviously Bobcats coming with a big win. What are some of the things that you've done with the team to ensure that you keep that intensity and fire as y'all go on this huge win streak?
Yeah, we as coaches, we've tried to maintain the focus and keep pushing our guys. It's just a natural, I guess, thing for people to want to relax and enjoy what they've done, and their accomplishment, as Coach Saban would call it, rat poison. And we've been pushing ourselves all week to make sure that we try to address that and make sure the kids know that what we've done in the past has nothing to do with what's going on this week.
All right, and last question. Rain kind of in the forecast for this week. What are some things that you do as far as practice goes to make sure that ball security and all of that is taken care of when you go into this matchup?
With the running backs and things, we've done some drills to make sure we work on taking care of the football. But at the end of the day, that you got to focus on the football every time you run. And we tell our kids all the time the most important part of every play is when it's over, we still got the ball.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Gas Department of Pulaski is here to help you save money. Natural gas is safe, efficient, and cost-effective. It's up to 50 to 60% less expensive than electricity for home heating. Plus, it's clean and efficient, so you can feel good about your choice. Call us today for service or visit our website to learn more. Make the switch to natural gas and start saving today.
And we're back here, and joining me again for the second half of our Giles County preview is Chris. Once again, Chris, big matchup for the Bobcats coming up Friday as they go against Tyner on the road. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I think we'll probably see two of the best athletes we've seen all season, bar none. Two guys that are looking at Power 5 colleges this upcoming fall. They can, absolutely move, world-class type speed. And so the Cats have to be prepared for that. Some things you can't teach, and that type of speed is one of them. You got it or you don't got it. And so had a chance earlier this week actually to talk to assistant coach Don Thomas, and he mentioned a fact that was, he said, we're not necessarily facing a dynamic quarterback, but we're facing world-class athletes, which can be as terrifying or as uneasy to defend. And so, again, we just got to do a great job being able to tackle in open space, make the plays that we need to make. And Tyner is good enough by themselves to beat you. They're 11-1, I believe, coming into this ball game, averaging a little over 35 points a ball game. I mean, they can do it in the air, they can do it on the ground. So again, they're good enough to beat you by themselves. But if we play our style of football, it's hard for other teams to score if their offense is on the sideline. So if you can put together long drives, move the ball, and put the ball in the end zone, kind of take some of the air out of that place, I think the Cats put themselves in a good position to win a ball game.
And as we kind of talked about with O'Connor and all these early tough matchups that they've had, O'Connor highlighted that this is what they've been preparing for all season, to be able to go on the road and to execute. So the Bobcats have a very good core, I think, that will help them in this matchup, but this has got to be one of their toughest matchups of the season.
Absolutely. I think you're going to see, especially in 3A, you're going to see high-level kids that can play, again, at a high level, a high pace. But I think we have found some things on film and on tape that we like in the matchup. So I think the Cats will look to capitalize on some of those. Again, Tyner's really explosive offensively. They've got two guys that can, again, really float. So I think an area of the ball game that's going to be super important that sometimes we overlook is special teams. When you have two return men that can take a ball from one end zone to the other in 9 or 10 seconds, you got to be mindful of that kind of stuff going into it and where you place the ball and just being able to cover an open field, things of that nature. So if the Cats can do that, I think they'll be okay. They'll give themselves a chance to win. Defensively, open field tackling is going to be super important. Offensively, hanging your hat on what you've hung your hat on all year long, and that's from tackle to tackle. And those guys doing their job, Carter Garrett, Kate Luffman, Bryce Rivers, Cannonball Malone, and TJ Auntie Cross, as they call him. Those guys doing a good job up front. Guys like Devin Wilburn also, you'll see moonlight some, and Jackson Burton also. So guys, again, like that, we're going to need them to be huge up front, give franchise time to make those throws, create some holes for Pearson Collier, and then expect a heavy dose of David Bridges this week. We're going to need Pearson to be really, really effective on the defensive side of the ball. And so don't be surprised if we don't see more David Bridges this week than we have since before the injury.
And also, a side note to that, Dallas Buckner, who's come back from injury, put up 2 touchdowns last week. I think that, especially if we see a lot of rain, I think that we'll see a lot more focus on the run game. As you don't want to chance a turnover on a pass in – they're predicting some pretty bad rain for it. So
yeah, which again, it looks like it may be a bit of a typhoon over there at Tyner, which again, in the brief conversation I had at an undisclosed location with Dr. Thomas, I think that's something that may vote in favor of the Bobcats. Because again, sometimes the elements can take away some of what you can do with that speed. But a lot of times where you see those rain games like that, teams that shine or teams that are successful are teams that run the ball really well. So, again, I think that's going to be huge for the Bobcats. When you have athletes like they do, you're looking to get the ball to their hands at all times. So don't be surprised about reverses, flipping the field, that type of stuff. Do your job. This is the perfect opportunity to show everybody that you are who you thought you were. This is also a Tyner team who the Bobcats played early, last season. I believe it was the first round of the playoffs last year when they met each other. So, again, some familiarity there. I'm not sure if these two guys were at Tyner at that particular time or if they've recently moved in. But, again, they know who you are. You know who they are. So it's not going to be any of that surprise element that a lot of times the Bobcats kind of sneak up on people because you think Giles County and you think, well, they're not any athletes. We don't even know anything about Giles County. Then before you know it, you're down like Northside was 30 to whatever the case is. Like, what happened to us? You know what I'm saying? So that won't be the case tonight, Friday night, though. Tyner's ready for you. They're excited. They've just recently opened their new field, so I'm expecting a big crowd over there. So it should be a fun night of high school football. But if we take care of the football, don't play Santa Claus. Hadn't said that in 3 weeks. Boy, that felt good. Don't play Santa Claus. And then just do what we do. And, again, control the line of scrimmage. I think we have a really good chance of beating a talented Tyner football team.
Absolutely. And so Friday night, big matchup, Bobcats on the road. And Chris will be providing coverage at Tyner with WKSR. So tune into that. And I will be providing the written coverage for the Pulaski Citizen. But we're going to take a timeout, and you will actually hear from some of the players after their win against McMinn Central here on Beyond the Box Score.
For a new job, let M&M Staffing be your guide. With over 20 years of experience, we know how to connect great people with great opportunities. We work with over 80 companies, so we're sure to find the perfect job for you. Our team is dedicated to helping you succeed, and our high customer satisfaction rate proves it. Ready to get started? Visit us at mnmstaffing.net or give us a call today at 931-347-4255.
So, Coach, humongous win for the Bobcats tonight, 41-6. Talk to me a little bit about how the team did in this matchup.
I thought we handled it really well. It's a game that I thought going in that we should win. Now, does that mean we're going to win? No, because we've had a couple other games this year that I thought we should win that we did not win. We did not. We just didn't execute when the game time got there, and I felt like we executed at times tonight, but you could tell there's some rust there because missing game last week, not getting that on-field play, because there's nothing more valuable than game time experience. And so you could tell we're off a week. Got sloppy late in the first half with penalties and things of that nature, stuff you can't do and win big games. Definitely can't do that next week. We're going to have big-time focus this week and big-time focus during the game next week for us to pull off a big win, because I would tell you the team we got next week is a really good football team. And the best part is we've got a really good football team too, so it should be a really good battle up there.
Absolutely. And the Bobcats, obviously, we talked a little bit earlier this week about keeping that momentum from that big win streak into the end of the season. Looks like the Bobcats overall kept that momentum. A little bit of rust, as you mentioned, the first half. Pearson Call, you're talking to me a little bit about that 3 touchdowns, interception, really overall just coming together, and defense overall was really good.
That's right. Defense was really good tonight. I was really proud of them. Other than a bust right before the first half, and kind of a bust, I'm not sure it was. I thought he was in really good coverage over there. The thing about playing sports is other teams make good plays too, and I thought Cooper was in pretty good coverage. That guy just made a really nice catch, and that happens in anything you do. You got to hats off to them for making plays as well.
And you already alluded to it, next week's matchup. Talk to me a little bit about what are some things that the Bobcats are going to do to get ready as they go on the road. Pretty far road game for the Bobcats. What are some things that the team's going to get ready?
On a good note, we've made a couple long drives already. A few weeks ago we went to Jackson Northside, which kind of set us up for a playoff atmosphere, and really hopefully will set us up for this game, because just like Tyner's going to have really good athletes, Jackson Northside also had really good athletes, and we had to go in there and play really well to pull out a win, and I felt like we did. Now we got to continue that focus, bring that focus next week, because I know they've got a bunch of seniors that's going to be playing, and you never want to lose that game as a senior. And so I know our seniors are going to be playing their heinies off, and I'm really excited about getting this opportunity to make it back into the quarterfinals.
Absolutely. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. So, Xavier, big win tonight for the Bobcats. Talk to me a little bit about big touchdown play right after the blocked field goal. Can you talk to me a little bit about what went into that play for you as you made that big connection to put the Bobcats up in the score?
It's just about reading the defense. I seen the corner's eyes on me, so I knew he was probably going to come down on the out route, so I knew he was probably going to be wide open.
Absolutely. And then, obviously, great performance tonight for the Bobcats, winning 41-6. What are some things you're going to take away from this game as you get ready to play the next matchup?
I think our intensity, we should keep bringing it, because when we do that, we can outwork the other team, but we just got to clean up the little mistakes in the first half, and we should be good.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So, Pearson, obviously, normally we're talking about offensive performance, another huge offensive performance for you tonight with 3 touchdowns, but tonight really stood out on defense. Talk to me about getting an interception and just all the defensive plays that helped the Bobcats come up 41-6 tonight in this game.
Coach Tanner sets up a really good game plan that keeps me free, lets me get tackles, and allows me to play the way I want to play. So big shout out to Tanner.
Absolutely. And 3 touchdowns,
yes, sir.
Working in the backfield to keep the Bobcats dual threat. Talk to me about, working in the backfield with all those other running backs. All of them are coming back and y'all are all working as a team back there.
Hey, I love it. I love watching Opie run the ball. I love running the ball. But, when I see Opie running the ball, it makes me happy. I enjoy sharing the ball, sharing plays, and sharing touchdowns and opportunities, especially with Dallas. That's my senior. That's my boy.
When it comes to insurance, Winterburn and Associates Insurance is the team you can trust. We offer coverage for your home, auto, business, and more. We work hard to find the best policy for you at the best price. Our personalized service means we take the time to understand your needs and make sure you understand your options. We want you to feel confident and secure with your insurance policy. Let us make insurance simple for you. Get a quote today at winterbourinsurance.com or call us at 931-363-8638.
And we're back here for our Richland segment here on Beyond the Box Score. I'm Mark Mize, joined today once again by Jennifer Hawkins. Jennifer, another week at Wayne Hobb Stadium and another Raider victory. They're now 7-0 at home this year, and they get a chance for number 8 this week as they host McKenzie.
A big task ahead, obviously, that they've got to face, but there's a reason we keep calling it Winville. There is something about getting to play at Wayne Hobbs. They have been very successful. They have a good routine, and the guys are pumped. They're ready. Coaches are excited. I got to talk to some of them after their coaches meeting on Sunday, and they said, we've got a good game plan. We have something in place that, is we feel good about it. Nothing fancy, nothing, no inside scoop or anything like that, but they feel like they've got a solid game plan and kind of how to attack McKenzie, because everybody knows this is going to be a big battle. Richland's got to play pretty flawless football, but they're calling on Raider Nation. So here's your challenge, and you'll hear it in a little bit in the interview with Coach Patterson. They need your help because they want the energy from that 12th man to flow onto the field.
Absolutely. So to talk a little bit about last week's game, of course, that was in the second round of the playoffs. They were welcoming number 10 ranked South Fulton. And, I had talked about in the show coming up to that game that I felt like South Fulton was a little overrated. They had a really great 9-2 record coming in, but they'd only played 2 teams all year long who were above 500 on the year and had lost pretty convincingly to Dresden, which, by the way, of course, Dresden kind of got exposed this past week against Fayetteville City. But at the same time, this is a team that, people around the state felt like was one of the top 10 Class A teams. And what did we see, Jennifer? Richland was up 35-0 at halftime.
I mean, they came out from the get-go, they threw a right and then a left, and then for the knockout punch. I mean, you just felt like they just came out battling from the beginning, and really took South Fulton out of the game within the first 8 minutes of the game. I mean, you could already tell that Raiders were on that field to go, hey, we're here to make a statement, and we don't care who you are. You're coming into our house, but it's our rules here, and we're going to show you guys. I think, too, people are starting to see, you talked about, Fayetteville exposing Dresden, and I think folks are starting to take notice that being region champion here for Richland was a big deal because it's a strong region. Eagleville went toe-to-toe with Memphis, and it was one of those that kind of came down to it was a touchdown difference. Fayetteville took care of Dresden. There's strong competition in Region 5, and I think people need to be aware that it wasn't a cakewalk for these teams to get to where they are, and that's why you're seeing the success here. But, I think it put everybody a little bit more on notice that Richland's the real deal.
Absolutely. And you look at this past week, Richland won the turnover battle 4-1. That is now the 8th straight week in which they've won the turnover battle, which what a streak that is. I mean, Cam Drake had a pick six, 55-yard interception return for a touchdown. Shooter Foster had interception. But I really think that the biggest turnover of the day was actually that Richland marched down the field and scored a first touchdown on about a 75-yard drive when they got the ball first. First play of the game for South Fulton, they fumbled and gave the Raiders the ball at the 12. And so basically after one play for South Fulton, suddenly they were about to be in a 14-0 hole. And from there, it really just, was a cascading effect as Richland just touchdown after touchdown. Let's just go over some of the rushing stats real quick, because the Raiders only ended up needing, I think it was 96 yards of passing, because Colin Cagle, 5 carries for 87 yards, 2 touchdowns. AJ Bates, 5 carries for 85 yards. Jake Sands, 7 carries for 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. Levi Reedy, 4 carries for 35 yards. I mean, think about that for a minute. They're averaging roughly 9 to 10 yards per carry there for their first team rushing attack. They're averaging a first down every time they touch the ball in the run game. And how much this rushing attack has progressed from week 1 until now, it's just unbelievable, Jennifer.
Yeah, it starts with the offensive line up front is creating impact and, making lanes. And then each of these running backs, I mean, it doesn't matter kind of who it is, they're figuring out, they're showing their patience by waiting for their blockers to throw those blocks out front. And then they're just picking apart lanes. And I mean, And other teams are like, what do we do? And then when you have too many weapons too, like, you try to, we got to stop Sands. And, that's what other teams are thinking. And then they're going to hand it off to Cagle, or they're going to use Bates in that fullback, or Reedy, or, it's just like, okay, wait, we can't stop him. We got to focus on him now. And we got to, so when you have that many weapons, it's just one of those things that, okay, here we go. We don't know what to do, and then the offensive line just doing the dirty work up front. They don't get enough praise, in my opinion, but it's just one of those things. They, again, I keep joking about their team Moses. They just part the way, and here we go. Let's let it happen. But the running backs being so patient to let that happen in front of them, and because you see teams kind of over pursue because your running backs are quicker than your O line, and they'll try to take an edge a little bit quicker, and their block's not there, and so they'll get beat behind the blocks, and so it's just one of those. The cohesiveness of this team has been really impressive to watch, especially as the offense keeps delivering week after week.
Absolutely. One of the funniest plays of the night to me was Colin Cagle's 30-yard rushing touchdown, which he ran probably off guard, so he ran slightly to the left, but he went 30 yards on a play in which he wasn't like taking a pitch to the outside, and I think he went untouched just because it wasn't even that fast of a developed play. It was just the fact that he kind of followed his guys. The offensive line just absolutely cleared the way, and you have a guy basically running up the middle and not getting touched for a 30-yard touchdown. Just such an impressive performance by the offensive line. And a quick note, I think that was one of the best coached games of the year too.
Yeah.
One, you're up 35-0 over a top 10 team, so clearly things went well. But a lot of the plays that, earlier in the season, maybe we think about and we're like, ooh, that really didn't work out, especially the double handoff, which worked very effectively this week. This really shows you that it's not always that it's a bad play call. Sometimes it's just the execution isn't there yet.
Yeah.
And now in week 13 of the season, 2 rounds into the playoffs, you're seeing plays like that where that it was getting booed versus Huntland is now everyone's favorite play. And so, that play where we saw the double handoff, the trick play, which, by the way, we want to give a shout out. When we saw it live, we actually accidentally called out Levi Reedy for that play, but Jake Sands took the pitch and passed it to Brady Tarpley for his first career touchdown. So apologies there to that young man. We got it right in the newspaper, but got it wrong live. But, the trick play there that was drawn up so well, Tarpley wide open there because of the pitch. They, all swarmed to Sands. And then up 28-0, they called an onside kick, which the Raiders got back. And so, this really felt like all of the execution, all of the play calling, and the game planning by the coaching staff, everything just came together in a way that I don't know if we've seen since maybe that 30-point win over Eagleville.
Yeah, it felt like everything was just falling into place. I felt like when I got home and kind of replaying it in my mind, I felt like I was watching one of those old Disney movies where, the underdog versus the big giant, but we were the big team, except it was not the ending that Disney usually does. The underdog never came back into the game. It was just domination from the get-go by the Raiders, and it was just a fun night, and everything kind of was falling into place, and everything was going their way, and nothing was going right for South Fulton. But you have to credit that's because the Raiders were putting so much pressure on defense. They were constantly in pursuit. Even if they weren't making a tackle for loss or something like that, the footsteps were there.
Right.
They were pursuing, and so they were having South Fulton rush plays. The Red Devils were having to kind of adjust and do because they were running for their lives because defense was on the attack. And then offensively, we've already talked about how everything went so well. And Keenan, that little jump pass, Sands to Tarpley, who was still smiling on Monday, because like we said, his first career touchdown, Cam Drake's first varsity touchdown, for our pick 6 that he's had, he's been close. So we've seen him have breakup passes. So he had a stellar game as well, but we could shout out all night, all the different plays and things. Just all of it came together so beautifully Friday night, so can they continue off of that? You come off of that high note. Let's continue that momentum moving forward.
So Raiders win it 42-8 over South Fulton in the second round of the TSSAA Class A playoffs. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll hear from Coach Nick Patterson as well as John Garrett and AJ Bates, 2 of the top defensive linemen for the Raiders, here in a moment, as Jennifer had a chance to interview them after Friday night's win.
Big win. Tell me, how were you just able to get your guys get their head in the game from the beginning, and you guys just come out and shut the door from the beginning?
Well, it's an experienced group. We got lots of seniors playing ball, and they understand what's at stake, and that every game could be their last one, and so we're leaving it all on the line, and really proud of how they played and their efforts tonight for sure.
Well, talk to me a little bit. You said about the senior leadership and stuff. These guys, honestly, knowing these guys in the building, they don't jump out like you got this one leader or this two leaders. They really lead as a team. How did you develop that with a group of 16 guys?
Well, just holding themselves accountable first, and then holding each other accountable, and they do a good job of picking each other up. And like you said, it's not just a one-man show. It's really all of them, and at different times and in different ways. But they know what's expected. We've set a culture and standards of what we expect, in practice, in the weight room, in the classroom, and so they hold each other accountable and get it done.
Absolutely. So I know you're going to enjoy this short-lived because I know how you operate. You're going to kind of play back through this. What are things you need to improve on moving into next week against McKenzie?
Well, obviously we got to clean up some penalties. Like I told them at halftime, we're getting different crews from different places and they see different things, and so we just have to adapt, and we got to do a better job of adapting to the game and what's going on. If they're going to call something a certain way, then we've got to do a better job of releasing a little sooner or whatever it is. And that's probably the biggest thing. I thought offense and defense and really special teams, they clicked pretty good for the most part all night, so pretty pleased with that.
Absolutely. Hey, you heard it here. He was pretty pleased. That's usually more than we get out of you sometimes. But
we can always be better.
Oh, absolutely. And I know you're always going to say that. But Coach, it was just, from the get-go, you guys just kind of put your foot on the gas and didn't let up there in that first quarter, especially, and lead no doubt. And then you come out second half. You talk about adjustments with penalties and stuff, but how do you kind of keep momentum going throughout that second half when you got a big lead?
Well, like I said, understand the situation. We wanted to keep the clock running. They were able to come down and get one, put one in, and then get the onside. But we kind of shut that down with the pick six back Cam Drake, so that was big for us. And put our twos in, and just trying to execute like we told them in there. Whether they're first team, second team, third team, when you get in and you get an opportunity, make the most of that opportunity and do your job.
Absolutely, and as someone who gets a little older every week, we appreciate the running clock because it gets us home a little bit earlier and lets you start getting into some film and some other things a little quicker, because I know you're going to break this apart numerous times before you ever try to hit the pillow tonight. But congratulations, Coach. It's been so fun. This is becoming a trend, so let's do it again next Friday night. We wish you the best of luck.
Quarterfinals next Friday night versus McKenzie. I need this place rocking. So I'm putting a challenge out to all of Raider Nation right now, and we'll do it throughout the week. But we want the cowbells rocking, milk jugs with rocks, everything, and then fence lined up. We want a big show for next week because we're going to put on a big show next week.
Absolutely. We'll help you get the word out. So, again, congratulations. Big win, Coach Patterson. Go enjoy it for a little bit, then get to your film, and we'll see you next week for McKenzie.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Big win. How were you guys able to come out early and just assert your dominance?
Getting hyped before the game, is a big part of it. Just coming out with energy and just wanting to win, really. It's all about the want to.
Talk to me as a senior. You're one of 16. How are you guys leading from a standpoint of seniors? How are you guys talking to your younger classmen? They're getting some minutes, some big minutes in these playoff games. But what are you guys doing during the week to kind of keep the momentum going?
Just coaching them up and getting them on scout team. Just making sure that they're getting the reps they need. Because you can't do anything if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true. And you guys are definitely proving to folks you've got it figured out. So you've got a lot of memories from your years of being on the Richland Raider team. What's been some of your favorite parts of being a part of this team?
Just coming out here, made it be early or late. Just coming out and having fun with my brothers, pretty much.
Absolutely. So big week next week. So we're going to wish you guys good luck. We're going to let you switch out. Thank you for joining us, John, and I'll talk to you again next week after another big Raider win. Does that sound good?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Bates. So tell me, okay, I got to know, I'm going to ask right now, that onside kick, planned or not, or how'd that work out?
Partially. We were trying to kick it in the middle, because there was a big open space, and, one of our guys is, he knows he can do it. So, if he was that confident, we were going to let him do it. And I accidentally kicked it a little short, but it worked out. So I can't complain about it.
You're so honest because you're supposed to say, yeah, that's exactly how we planned it. That's exactly how we rolled it up, AJ. But no, I'm just messing with you. But so I ask you all the time. You tell me I want to just run fast, hit hard, and that's kind of what you tell me every time. But honestly, you play all parts of the game. So do you have a favorite part?
Well, I just enjoy being on the field. You know what I mean? Really, my favorite part is getting to play for the team I do and have what we have. I love it. Just every part about it. There's no special part, or there's no part above everything else to me. It's
just all football, isn't it? I love it. So, all right. So you're going to get to enjoy this win tonight. It's very dominant. But you're looking ahead next week, McKenzie, with a big win. I don't know if you guys knew that yet, but they're taking care of business with Greenfield. What's the plan moving forward there?
I can go ahead and say the same thing as normal. Run fast, hit hard.
There it is. That's what I was waiting on.
But I mean, they're a good team, and we're gonna have to be on our A game. And I think that if we can get our heads right, when we get our heads right and we get on that field, I think we'll be all right.
Absolutely, and got a little bit of revenge to come. They got to come to Wayne Hobbs too, and you guys have been successful here. So, congratulations, another big win. We've enjoyed getting to call your games and be a part of the Raider Nation, enjoying this season with you guys. But hey, let's do it again next week. It's been a lot of fun. So that was AJ Bates, the senior that you just heard.
For a new job, let M&M Staffing be your guide. With over 20 years of experience, we know how to connect great people with great opportunities. We work with over 80 companies, so we're sure to find the perfect job for you. Our team is dedicated to helping you succeed, and our high customer satisfaction rate proves it. Ready to get started? Visit us at mnmstaffing.net or give us a call today at 931-347-4255.
And we're back. You just heard from Coach Nick Patterson as well as AJ Bates and John Garrett for the Richland Raiders after last week's 42-8 win over South Fulton. So the Raiders move on to the quarterfinals for a second straight season. And for a second straight year, they'll be playing Big Bad McKenzie, ranked number 1 in the state. Of course, last year didn't go the Raiders' way, but a lot of reasons to believe that there's something in the air here in Linville. Richland has had such a fantastic season. McKenzie maybe doesn't cook quite as strong as they did last year. And most importantly, this year, they're coming to you. You're not making the long travel. You're not having your day disrupted. And you're able to, have your home environment, which Coach Patterson says is going to be raucous after they have really put the call out to the community to make this one of the best environments since the 80s for the Richland Raiders. And so, once again, this is going to be a tough task. It always is once you get this deep into the playoffs. But there are a lot of reasons to be bullish about the Raiders' chances.
Yeah, it's one of those that, if you're coming and planning to be in attendance Friday night, little heads up, get there early because it's going to be packed because it's going to be good football. I think you're going to have some folks from maybe surrounding areas even that, or even some Giles County folks that don't want to make the drive to Tyner that are going to possibly show up because it's going to be a good game. We keep saying tall task, can it happen? It's not I don't think this is a David and Goliath type situation. I think it's a good head-to-head matchup, and I think Raiders have a bit of the advantage by being the home team. Like you said, traveling with a bunch of high school guys, that's tough. I mean, it disrupts your routine and different things. And I think definitely Richland is a better team than they were last year. They were very good last year, but McKenzie was a powerhouse last year. It was tough to go into that environment. Now the roles are a little bit reversed, and I think it's going to possibly come down to who scores last. I mean, it could be that type of game, to be honest. But I think Raiders are going to have to win that turnover battle. They're going to have to maintain pace. They're going to have to maintain and just do their job. We keep hearing that from the guys consistently. just know your role. Don't try to create big plays. Don't try. They'll happen. They're going to happen. They've happened all season. Let the natural flow of the game occur, and then just reap the benefits. And as long as you follow through, you're going to be fine. And I think it's one of those that we could have a huge Raider celebration at the end of this game on Friday night.
Definitely. Talking a little bit about McKenzie, they're 11-1 on the season, number 1 in the rankings. They've won 11 straight games after losing the season opener to Huntingdon. But the thing about them is really their offense. I know they're holding people to 8 points per game, but they're scoring 45 points per game. I mean, just consistently, you see 40, 40, 50, 60 over the course of the year. Just the points that they're putting up with the fact that Tate Serber is now playing college football for UT Martin. And so their Mr. Football quarterback from last year is gone. And now they have a new Mr. Football finalist who played receiver. If you remember, if you went to the game last year, Cole Brown played receiver. This year he's a quarterback. He has 53 total touchdowns. He's thrown for 32 touchdowns with only 4 interceptions. He's rushed for 800 yards and 21 more touchdowns. I mean, that is just a factory in West Tennessee there. And so even though they are largely predicated on one guy, that's still a guy who you have to find a way to stop. So they're going to be game planning hard on finding a way to contain him.
Well, that's what the coaches have alluded to, and that's the call they're putting out to the guys is, hey, we're going to get this game plan together. They know about Cole Brown. I mean, you can't have stats like that and the opposing team not be aware of that. So how are they going to match up with that? I'm curious too, because McKenzie, have they truly played a defense like Richland brings? That's the matchup I think I'm really interested in is, 45-point average versus this defense. What's it going to look like on the field? I think that's the excitement that's building around this. But this time of year, this is what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be an easy road. You don't just get to waltz through and go, hey, we're going to win a state championship by, I mean, you're going to have tough matchups. And folks are like, how did we end up matching up, if we'd have played over in this part of the bracket or that? And I'm like, they're all good at this point. You're going to have those matchups that just happen to, you got to get through the tough competition if you're going to come out on top. You don't get to play an easy route when you get this deep in the playoffs.
And you're going to have to play every team eventually. And so the thing is, if Richland wins this week, the semifinals is probably going to be much, much easier before you would have a very difficult matchup in the finals versus probably South Pittsburgh there. And so, like I said, Richland came in ranked 5th this week. And quite frankly, I think that's too low. I don't understand any argument that they're not at least 3rd, just based on their body of work this year. Richland has been unbelievable ever since week 1's loss to Wayne County. I mean, just what can you fault them for? Every single week, especially community and going forward. They've been scoring in the 40s every single week. They're holding teams on the season only to about 11 or 12 points per game. And so, Richland has an impressive resume. All of the guys are coming together. For the 2nd straight year, they have just an unbelievable senior class. And really, it feels like this is Richland's chance to win this matchup now and then basically put your stamp on the fact that suddenly you beat number 1. There's every reason to believe that you can win the state championship. And so I really feel like everything's set up really well for the Raiders right here. And if there is a moment for them to do this, this is that moment.
I agree with you. Raiders versus Rebels, that when they walk away with this win Friday night, then it's really, people are even more going to take notice and go, oh, so they're kind of playing for a little bit of respect, I think, too. But honestly, the boys don't care. They're like, let's just get out and do our thing, and then people will start to take notice. But, I mean, I think more and more folks are figuring out that Richland is the real deal. And I think Friday night is a chance for them to prove what they're made of.
Absolutely. And so remember, this week you'll have Richland at home versus McKenzie there at Wayne Hobbs Stadium. Giles County will be traveling to Tyner Academy in their quarterfinal matchup. So they'll actually be an hour ahead because of the Eastern time zone. And so they will start an hour earlier there. JP Plant and Chris Bledsoe will have the broadcast for Giles County. Jennifer Hawkins and myself will have the broadcast for Richland, both of those on WKSR. And so we're going to end the show slightly differently today, as Jennifer has a segment that she's going to do for, quite frankly, probably the best, most talented team sport in terms of, you just look at their resume over the last 20 years, which is Richland's competitive cheer squad. And so she had a chance to, introduce us to that, get some great footage that was provided to us from their recent, it was the state. They were playing for state, right? And they finished runner-up?
Yes.
Yes. And so, once again, Beth Hall and that program, ever since I was in high school, I mean, just unbelievable what they've been able to do.
Yeah.
And once again, no offense to football, basketball, soccer, baseball, softball, but really the probably best resume of any team sport over the last 20 years for Richland has been competitive cheer. And so we're going to see a little more of that as they finish state runners up. But once again, you've been listening to Beyond the Box Score. A special shout out to Jennifer, Chris, Chandler, and our producer, Scott Stewart. So stay tuned for this final segment here as Jennifer is going to introduce us to the state runner-up Lady Raider Cheer Squad.
Give me an R, give me an H, give me an S. RHS, welcome into all things Richland. And yes, it's been a few years since my cheer days, but I'm here to share with you a special group that represents Raider Nation so well. Last week, our cheer squad got to travel to the state competition in Knoxville, and they walked away as your state runners-up. In just a moment, we've got a brief video clip that you get to enjoy just so you can get a glimpse of all that hard work, the time, the effort, the blood, sweat, and tears that they pour into this program. So watch and enjoy. And if you see some of these team members, please congratulate them on a job well done.